Hello and welcome to another movie review from MBE. We'd just like to thank you once again for joining us here on our YouTube channel and of course our Twitch stream. I am one of your co-presenters, Stephen John McLaughlin. Our co-host and presenter, it's John Christopher Walsh.
John the Bald Eagle Walsh.
Our Indian cinema and general movie enthusiast, it's Ruth. Aaron, we're all here on this Friday night, Saturday morning for Ruth. She's based in Australia, so a bit of a time zone. Yeah, we're here.
Apologise.
We're here. That's a terrible accent, John. We're here to talk about Aval. This, of course, is from 2017, and for anyone who's not familiar with the title, I think the Western title is called The House Next Door. That's available on Netflix too, the other version. 6.8 out of 10 IMDb ratings. 2 hours and 17 minutes, directed by Milind Rao, starring the likes of Suresh, Siddharth, Atul Kulkarni, I think that's the name, and some familiar faces in there as well from films we've already reviewed. We've got Prakash Belawadi in there playing Father Joshua, who was in Suraya Potru, which we reviewed a few weeks ago, and Andrea Jeremiah, who plays Laxmi, was also in Master, Veda Chennai and Tupaki. So a few familiar faces in there.
Really? Wow.
Well, it was Prakash Belawadi, John, that I recognise obviously from Suraya Potru. He was the businessman, wasn't he? The one that was kind of tried to do the sort of double switch.
He betrayed the Sharia character, and he obviously was getting after him with the fire extinguisher.
And in this film, I liked him a lot. He wasn't in it for large amounts, but he was in one of the most important scenes of the film, which I'm sure we'll get into when we're talking about our best moments. But I'm going to hand it over now to John Christopher Walsh.
Just a second, Stephen. Just keep talking.
Okay, you're not ready. I'm going to pass this over slowly to John Christopher Walsh once he's ready to take us through this review experience and of course give you guys our ratings as well, how we rate the film.
And I'm going to try and look for this little graphic which you'll never know how hard this is because I have got a moon. I have got a moonlight in front of me. I feel just full screened it. I feel like
that is no moon.
Buzz Aldrin here.
That's a space station.
It's a space station. I feel like Buzz Aldrin and Buzz Aldrin, not Aldrin.
That's actually my Obi-Wan impression, but okay.
This is how we review or rate our movies when we review them. Pretty simple rating system. F through A. F is terrible. D minus rude plus average. C minus rude plus is good. B minus rude plus excellent. A is perfection. That's how we rate our movies. Keep that in mind when we get there. Don't know how long it will take to get there, but we will get there. I'll see you when you get there. Get there. That's how we rate our movies. Now keep in mind, I don't think we will ever see an F. It's there purely for ceremonial reasons. Fill it out a bit. Ain't get time to be watching F movies. Hopefully that'll never happen. With that out of the way though, let's get into the actual movie review. We'll go right into story. We'll not get into how we discovered this movie. No one really cares how we discovered this movie. Let's be honest, it's just a little sidetrack that's completely superfluous. It's not required. No one cares. They're here to just find out what we thought about when we actually did go and see the movie. So the story, thoughts on writing, the character development, the way it ebbed and flowed, my seat is just clicked. Themes explored, and the ending. Now I'm going to go on a little, I don't know what to say, hop.
Good game.
Going to go on a little journey here and say that no themes are really explored in this movie. Apart from the whole maybe injustice against women back in the day when also they gave birth to a female baby, and there was this sort of bias against that. They wanted a male baby primarily. That's probably a core theme to explore. Maybe highlighting a social injustice again, a social ill from the past. Just shine a light upon it and letting people these days know just how insane it was to be sacrificing a fit and healthy young baby girl or toddler girl or child girl for a soon-to-be baby boy. It was insanity. It made no sense to me. That's maybe a theme explored. Aside from that, I ain't looking for themes to be explored in a horror movie. That's just the way I like to consume horror movies. I just want to watch it, be on tenterhooks, enjoy the way they're structuring and composing scares. That's all I go into this for. Eat popcorn, enjoy it. I'm not looking for Scorsese-esque themes to be explored, and I don't think they do explore that in this. But for you, Stephen, I'll go to you, then we'll get into Ruth. What was your thoughts on the writing, the character development, and how it ebbed and flowed? How did you feel this movie flowed? Was it an enjoyable, easy watch for you?
It was an easy watch, John.
Yeah.
In terms of start to finish, it was. It was one of those ones that opened up very easily.
Stephen, what's going on?
I don't know what's
going on with your logo.
My logo.
What was going on here? Okay,
My logo.
You see that?
All right, okay.
Oh,
is that the one in
over.
the top left?
Yes.
No, as far as the story went, it ebbed and flowed very well. I think because they really kicked off the film very quickly with getting right into establishing the characters.
Song and dance number?
Yeah, but
which
I think something I've never seen before, and especially in Indian cinema, where the two main sort of characters at the beginning, who I thought the focus was going to be, it kind of slowly switched from those two, maybe about 45 minutes into the film, and then into the house next door. That's why the title's there. And we were then focusing on the Jenny character, her dad, the family, and that kind of thing. And I thought, that's unusual. I don't think I've ever seen that before, where the first sort of section of the movie was more about the doctor and his wife and establishing those two characters very early on. But it was important because the way it sort of flipped and flopped between both houses as the film went on, it was important to give time to both families, if you like, and I thought that was very well handled.
It was intertwining fates, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And in terms of genres, John, I'm not the biggest horror fan.
Yes,
I did not get into this looking for all the thrills of being jump scared because I didn't get any of that from this. That's not criticism.
Exorcist.
That's just, I've seen Exorcist and I wasn't that.
It's all downhill from there.
Yeah.
Which is why I've not seen
themes
Exorcist.
in this. There's obviously themes of exorcism in this movie. That's probably the main theme, actually. And we'll talk about, obviously, our favourite scenes later on. But for me, I thought it flowed well enough. It kept me interested to watch from start to finish. I've seen horror films where I've gave up after 45 minutes, but I think the way they handled the characters in the first half of the movie, it worked. And it worked for me anyway. Yeah.
Ruth, what was your thoughts on the way this story was written by Chandan Arora? There was 3 others involved. The way it flowed, themes explored, and we'll get into the ending after we've all perhaps gave our thoughts on the story, because it was an interesting ending. That could be a standout moment for some. We'll get into that anyway. Ruth, what was your thoughts on the way the story ebbed and flowed, the way it was written?
Yeah, I thought it was written really well. There were kind of like the continuity was really well done, in the sense that it flowed really smoothly. There were no like plot holes or anything like that as far as I could tell. And I like the fact that, it revealed itself as it went along. So it kind of like behaved a little bit like a mystery as well, because you're still wondering at the beginning what happened in that house, that kind of thing. So I thought it was well written. But you were saying something like, I think my understanding is that it was written by the director himself also. And, I think the dialogues were written, some of them were written by Siddharth himself.
Yeah, Siddharth's in there. Yeah, we've got Hindi dialogue, Chandan Arora, and then we've got dialogue consultant. But I think the actual main writer, you're right, Ruth, was Milan Rao, the director.
Yeah. So I thought it was well written, enjoyable watch. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll come back to me and I'll give my thoughts on it. I'll use my wide shot because I don't like to use it very often for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's that bald 8-ball head. I don't know. Cue ball head. It's white, it's not black. 8 went black. Where I'm going here. For me, I enjoyed the story. I liked the way it was written. As I says, I'm not expecting a Scorsese extravaganza from a horror movie. I don't expect it from Western horror movies. I don't expect it from any region's horror movies. Although I suppose if any region on the planet, getting off on a little tangent here, was going to give us a Scorsese-esque horror experience, it'd probably be Japan or Korea or something like that. But even then, I've not seen one yet. They gave us The Ring. Wasn't Scorsese-esque, was it? Japan, that I think that was, gave us The Ring. Pretty sure. But I liked the story. I thought it was well written. As you said, Ruth, not many plot holes in there. Just the intelligence at the start to give us this flashback sequence, black and white, artistically very creative. leave that lingering with you. The screams of this woman, you don't see it, you just see the house. Then we go off and just meticulously set up these characters. We then create all of this tragedy, all of this possession, this ghostly interaction. And then at the very end, we come back to where we started and we clarify what the possessions have been, who these ghosts are, what's the underlying cause, and we just tie it all up nicely at the end. I thought it was very well written. I liked the way it ebbed and flowed. It was 2 hours, 20 minutes, I want to suggest. And I watched it in one sitting. Very comfortable watching. I think that's a sweet spot for a horror movie. We've seen 3-hour horror movies at Chapter 2. I think that was Andy Muschietti or something.
Yeah.
He says he had to justify it because he had to tidy it all up. Yeah, yada yada. For me, a 2-hour horror movie is probably the sweet spot. Maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. This is not too far away from 2 hours. So for me, it was an easy watch. I thought it ebbed and flowed very well. It was very well edited. Wouldn't really cut many things out of here. I'm combining 2 words. I wouldn't really cut anything out of this. There you go. I'll just go for the word that I try to make up, and I'll use an actual real version. Not anything. I wouldn't cut anything out of this. Thought it ebbed and flowed pretty well. In terms of the ending, I'll come back to the 3 of us. The ending. Stephen didn't really see. Stephen, I'm with you. I didn't see the twist coming either.
Yeah, but I was annoyed.
Stephen
was annoyed with myself.
The Chris character.
I blamed the studio for tricking me, and I don't like that. And I was so annoyed that I didn't see it coming. It was so obvious, and Ruth actually did explain it to me better than the studio did before we came online. And I think seeing it and having a wee think about it, it made sense because there was dialogue previous to it that sort of leads up to that I missed, and I was so annoyed with it. And I actually said to you on Tuesday night, John, that's how far back it was when I watched the movie. I said, I think they've just ran out of ideas for that last 15 minutes and just threw a curveball in there, and for me it doesn't work. What am I doing on a movie channel? I
didn't get that at all, to be honest. But Stephen, you warned me about the last 15. I was just waiting on it coming. But for me, it was intriguing to see that the Dr. Chris character had been possessed the whole time. I never really seen that. But of course, they give us... I'm a big fan of a TV show from about 15 years ago called Hustle from the BBC.
Yeah.
And what that basically did is they'd perform a hustle, then they'd give you an elaborate overview of how they performed all the hustles. They'd go back and show you, oh, this is what they did, this is how this connects. They do that in this movie. They go back and they show you little snippets, and it all leads to the Chris character being possessed. And of course, the main one was the well in the house. The Jenny character jumps in, he tries to save her, he jumps in. We then find out at the end the father, I've got his name down the bottom somewhere, I think. Don't know what his name was. Louis. Yeah. I think he jumped in as well. That's the connection. Jenny gets possessed, and of course Chris gets possessed, and that's the sort of ground zero for all this possession and ghostly stuff. That well. So they do a good job for me in connecting it all back. I never seen it personally watching the movie. It wasn't immediately obvious to me that he was possessed. Although he did have that wacky dream. There was weird shit going on with him. He was seeing things. And it was only really him and Jenny in the movie that were seeing these strange hallucinations, these ghosts and stuff like that. So it makes sense in hindsight. Watching the movie, I never seen it. I didn't mind the ending. Thought the ending was pretty neat. As I says, it tied up the very start of the movie. Just, I don't know, if you were watching this as a bog standard exorcism sort of ghost haunting sort of movie, it'd be alright, but adding that little extra level, the sort of theme of the girls being sacrificed for the boys, this custom that was prevalent in India and in China, adding that, the tragedy of these 2 women, this guy doing himself in as well, this evil sort of man, you bring that and you tie that all up at the end, it just elevates the movie a little bit for me. So I enjoyed the ending. Ruth, what was your thoughts on the ending? What did you get from it? Were you aware that Chris was possessed from the get-go? I know you said to me before we come on.
Yeah. But yeah, I pretty much figured it out at the point where, because I was, like I was saying, I was already wondering where was the third ghost, because the moment the psychic guy said that there's a third one in the house, and I'm thinking, okay, obviously it's whoever killed these 2 people. Because they hadn't told the story then by that point. So I'm wondering where the third ghost is, if it's around. And then just when I think just when the pastor kind of gets out of his coma, right, he wakes up, and then I just had the thought like, okay, now he can tell us what he saw.
Yeah.
And I was like, what could he possibly have seen? then by then I had the build up had already come, and I known the story a bit more. So that was like, chances are he would have seen the ghost in him, and that's the only thing that would be shocking enough, to be news to them. Yeah, so that's when I figured it out, just like a few minutes before they actually showed it. Yeah.
Did you enjoy the ending though? What was your thoughts on the way they tied? Because obviously they start with this Chinese family, and then they get back to that at the end. Did you enjoy the way they tied that up?
I like the way they tied that up, and then I really loved the kind of the final reveal at the end. Kind of tying everything together. Yeah. So I thought it was a nice way of like looking back at everything else, and then like, okay, seeing those moments. And then recalling all those moments, okay, that's when that happened. That's when. So I thought that was really nice, and I like the fact that it ended with a kind of a message as well. You rarely think a horror movie would give you a moral message, but it did. And the moral message was that
don't be an ass.
if you have to kill a female in order to get a male child, then you don't need that kind of a male child. So it was like a message to the. At the time where generally people kind of have this belief system with China and India as well, that a male heir would be a better option, and people would actually go through great lengths to achieve that. So it seems maybe, I'm not sure whether it's that bizarre, but I've heard of stories that might be similar to that as well.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that there's been loads of baby girls killed, sadly, over in China. Over the years, they've sacrificed them because they want a young boy, which is strange to me.
I also heard that the story itself, because they do say it's based on a true story when it starts. Apparently, it is based on kind of like events that took place in that area. I think it's somebody that the director and Siddharth commonly knew, and they had gotten the idea.
That's almost like The Conjuring.
From the story,
that's what The Conjuring do. Obviously, they track the Warrens, that's what they're called, isn't it? Ed and Lorraine Warren, who were famous paranormal investigators in the 70s and 60s, 80s in the United States. They obviously had prominent cases. The Conjuring franchise, they take real stories. Also, they'll probably embellish it a little bit for cinematic purposes, but it's kind of similar to that. It's a real story, it's a sort of paranormal. They've embellished it a bit, and they gave us this movie, and that kind of ties in with my overall thoughts, because this almost to me is like the ending Conjuring franchise to me, or Conjuring movie. Don't know if there's others. It's got all of the sort of James Wan sort of touches.
Yeah, it wasn't as horror movies goes, it wasn't unique in the sense that it was doing something new.
Yeah,
it was doing things that you usually see in this kind of movies about possession and
but
demonic.
This was very Western to me though. This
was
like a very Western sort of movie.
And this one, but it was like put together quite well.
Yeah.
In the sense that it was chilling enough, a story. So even though it had all the usual things that you expect from a horror movie, and it didn't surprise you in that sense, it still managed to surprise you in terms of the storytelling and all that. Yeah,
certainly the daughter
and
being
the
killed.
visuals were amazing.
We'll get into that. We will get into that, because that's we will. What I noticed though at the end, though, the little twist with the little boy, incidentally, speaking about visuals, I loved that sort of iris pushing up. I thought that was class. This was like Yavarim Nalim, was that what we reviewed last week? Is that how you say it? Yavarim Nalim. We also get a similar twist at the end of that movie where you think goods prevail, but the evil actually looks, it contacts him on the phone. And this, it's a little boy twist, so it's a similar, I thought that's like last week, kind of similar end. Good does prevail, but evil's still kicking about, and I think that's a nice message to send out to people. Good can prevail in life, but there's always evil lurking. Some people need to remember that in politics, more so than ever, because evil's starting to rise again. Extremism's rising. It's always round the corner. Keep your eye on it. And using the eye, I think that was quite nice, sort of thematic. Standout moments. Shall I go first? I've got a standout moment. It doesn't even relate to the movie itself. Well, it does, because the person who has also put it in the movie, I'm going to say Girish Gopala Krishnan. I think he was the composer, Girish Gopalakrishnan. I hope I'm saying that right. He chose in a subtle little moment to use Debussy, Claire de Lune. It was playing in the background. It's one of my favourite piano compositions, music. Alongside Chopin, C-sharp minor, incidentally, if you're interested. I like Chopin as well. Think of The Pianist. That's what he played to get away, survive in front of a Nazi captain, whatever the hell he was. Debussy, Claire de Lune. You put Debussy in a movie, man. You put Claire de Lune in there, even subtly in the background. That gets plus points for me. So well done to Girish Gopalakrishnan using Debussy. That was a standout moment for me. One of my all-time favourite piano pieces. Stephen, what is one of your standout moments in this movie? I've got a few.
I've only got one, John.
Have you? Wow.
Because it's such a pivotal moment in the movie, and it kind of it highlights the theme of the movie throughout, is the exorcism. I thought that was brilliantly done. I thought visually it was stunning. Just everything about it, just how tense the scene was, you know. And I've seen exorcisms in films. I've seen The Exorcist, for crying out loud. I've seen it so many times done before. This really impressed me. The technical, I know we'll get into technical, John, but I think because of this moment in the film, and it's probably my best moment in the film, it's based on how technical it is, cinematically shot. The acting is first class. That's another thing we have to talk about as well. I know we will talk about, obviously, performances and stuff like that. This was a stellar cast, a very strong cast.
Anisha Victor did well in that scene.
Very good.
Very impressive.
Yeah, and
the contortions.
Prakash Belawade. This is his moment in the film, I felt. You know, as the
pastor.
The pastor, yeah. Thanks, John. I couldn't remember what his title was. I just felt he carried that scene along with what is the Jenny actor called again?
Jenny is I just says her name there, Anisha Victor.
Yeah. She was brilliant in this scene as well.
She was.
It was so intense. Now I know I don't get scared that often with horror films. I really don't, but I can appreciate them when they're done right, and that whole sequence was done perfectly for me. It's one of the best exorcisms I've seen in film. Just visually, it was terrifying.
Atul Kulkarni as well.
I didn't take
it
personally. I wasn't terrified, but just the way it was executed, if you pardon the pun, it was just fantastic. The way that she just threw her father up onto the wall was. It was, my mouth actually opened at that moment. It was just so well done. The cinematography throughout this movie, I know we'll get into it.
Oh, Stephen, look.
There was the highlight for me.
One of my standout moments is the cinematography. We will get into it.
Yeah.
Ruth, what was your thoughts on that exorcism scene? Because for me, I share Stephen, if we're talking about actual standout moments, that probably is the standout moment. It's a technical triumph.
Yeah, it is. I really loved the entire scene. I thought what was nice about it was that I've seen other horror movies where you see the exorcism scene. Sometimes it can be a little bit too much.
Yeah.
But this was just the right amount, you know. It was like
it doesn't overstay its welcome.
Built up really well, and it was like it had a very good creepy feel throughout, and it just like, you know, because the way it started off, it was the premise was this pastor kind of being brought in as a kind of like a dupe. You know, I mean, they weren't telling him that, but that's exactly it, you know.
It's a fake exorcist. That's what the
psychiatrist wanted to do, because it was meant to be like a fake thing, because the psychiatrist didn't believe, you know, that she was possessed, or he didn't even believe that, you know, that it's a possibility. So for him, it was nice the way it was kind of revealed in the stages, and then even the shock on his face, you know, it's that kind of it gave a very good feel towards the whole thing, the way they built it all up, that, you know, this was an actual real thing that's happening, and because it wasn't too over the top, it was really well done, and you didn't even though you knew something was coming, you didn't expect when, you know, especially when the father's pinned to the wall. It's like you didn't see it coming. It just suddenly happened very, very quickly. So I thought it was like very well handled. It was like a very short scene, actually, if you think. They didn't drag it out.
No, it was about 4 or 5 minutes,
you know,
something like that.
Yeah, exactly, you know. So I mean, for one of the major moments, it was actually quite short. Because, you know, they kind of like did it very quickly, and was very tight and very well shot. So, and I love even the sound effects and everything, all very
Levitation.
believable. As unbelievable as the situation is, it was very believably done.
Listen, Ruth,
so
you say that, and I'd like to think that's the case, but I've been aware. I've watched actual real life clips of what they're saying is exorcisms happening, and fucking sadly, it kind of does sound like voices do weird stuff, and there's some weird shit happening.
Yeah.
So I'd like to say it's unrealistic, but sadly, for what I'm seeing, and thankfully I've not been involved in it, I think it's quite realistic, to be fair. For me, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a real standout moment. The movie, for me, and as a whole, and I'll get into it just now. We'll talk about it in technical talk as well, but technical talk. We'll talk about it when we speak about the technical aspects of this movie. Technical talk, fuck this. Welcome back to Technical Talk, where we just speak about all the technical elements in movies. Yeah, I really like Roger Deakins' movie this week, Steve, did you? Fucking what am I doing here? Technical Talk. For me, that was the moment that typified just what they were doing in this movie. The technical aspects, the way the camera was worked, wire working for the levitation, just the subtle little visual effects, very, very impressive. I've seen a lot of exorcism scenes in movies. Never seen the actual Exorcist, funnily enough. Still not touched that one. That haunts me. Seen bits and bobs
And
of
I
it.
love all the overhead shots, they had of the entire room. Those were, I thought, very effectively done,
Yeah. Look, we see that continuing into another standout moment for me, which is the dream sequence for Krish when he wakes up and the chairs are all at weird angles in the air. There's weird shit going on. The TV comes on. The little girl's in the fireplace. I'm like, oh, there she is. He goes out the house and the fucking Range Rover's sitting on its bonnet, on its lights, standing upright. I'm like, that's quite impressive. I like how they've done that. Technically, this movie was absolutely stunning. It was the standout moment for me in the entire movie. I like horror movies. I've watched a lot of horror movies, and I think a lot of people underappreciate how hard it is to actually capture horror effectively. Bold scares. If everyone could do it, every horror would be amazing. Sadly, if you know about horror, you'll know that the vast majority of horror is a tragedy. It's terrible. It's not very well shot. It's low budget. Some weirdos like that. I personally don't. So I appreciate when they're building scares, the artistry involved in it, the quick cuts, the lingering shots when you need to build in the sort of ominous atmosphere. The way they sort of shoot things as well, the wire work, I can appreciate it because I've watched a lot of horror in my life. I thought it was very impressive in this movie, the way they shot it. That is the standout moment for me. The white shot as well, incidentally, at the end, I think they're going to find the little girl's grave. It's a wide shot with mountains. There's a pocket of trees that are in the middle. Incredible wide shot. So for me, technically, I really enjoyed it, and it typified by that exorcism scene, and then again the little dream sequence. Just the lighting as well. It was kind of red. It was weird. Any other standout moments?
I also like that scene, that shot, the one where she's looking at her house from their place. She's looking back at her house, and then suddenly when the thing kind of pops up at the door.
That's what I'm talking about. This is
that was I think the part I kind of jumped back a bit.
I'll tell you, the bit that I freaked out at probably the most. I didn't freak out, but it made me feel uncomfortable. And I spoke about this before we came on. When the Lakshmi character is in the hospital, I think she's having issues maybe with the pregnancy or whatever. I don't know why she's there. I can't remember. But she's getting pursued by lots of ghosts. In every room she goes into, there's another fucking ghost waiting on her. And Stephen made the point, she's had that experience and she chooses to go into the most claustrophobic, small, contained space in the entire building, a fucking elevator. And of course, the little girl appears next to her. I was cringing, man, because she couldn't get away. That's my worst fear, being stuck in a confined space with something that's trying to get you. And just the shot, you speak about structure and horrors and scares in a horror movie. The shot of the little girl walking towards her and she's screaming, she can't get out, and it goes to touch her leg just as she gets out. I'm like, fuck off, no chance. And then the other moment for me was a little baby or toddler thing up in the ceiling. They're making love in the bed, and it sort of pans out to a white shot. There's something in the corner. I'm like, what is that? It bulges it slowly but surely, seeps out, and then it cuts to the thing and it's looking down. I'm like, so for me, the way they shot the movie, very impressive. That's probably the most impressive aspect to me. Lingering at the right amount of time. As you say, it's just the structure and the editing of a movie. The exorcism scene not overstaying its welcome. The dream sequence not overstaying its welcome. Very impressively shot. And that's a necessity for a horror movie. Because if it doesn't pay off, you're not building the scares. It's just going to be predictable. Even the swelling of the music, it was like The Conjuring. I love the Conjuring franchise. I've been to see all of them. This was like a Conjuring kind of movie to me in the south of India, which I liked. It's very matter of fact there, wasn't it? Which I liked. The other sequence I enjoyed, I spoke about this before I come on. I'm dominating here. I don't know if any of you want to come in with a standout moment. The brain surgery sequence. He's putting the electrodes in his head. He starts seeing things in the corner of his eye. I'm like, why is this guy even in an operating theatre doing major brain surgery on somebody when he's skittish, he's not sleeping, and he's getting fucking haunted by demons? What is he doing? And of course, he makes a mistake. The guy nearly dies. That was probably the most horrific moment in the movie for me. Not the demons, not in the water or anything like that, nothing like that shit. It was him operating on somebody while getting tormented by a little strange, ghostly toddler thing. The Welsh scene as well, that was good.
Yeah.
Anybody else get standout moments?
No,
not
me anyway.
Well, I'll go again. The Welsh sequence at the start, I'll tell you, we'll get into that in technical. We'll go into technical just now because we need to speak about technical before we actually go into the performance. I tell you, when I knew this movie was going to be fucking impressive on a technical aspect, on a sort of visual aspect, when the Seadar's running out the house, he sees Jenny jumping in the well. The tracking shot of him pulling away, of him running out the house, spinning off the wall, rolling down the lawn and getting in, I'm like, that is fucking absolutely brilliant, the way they shot that.
There was a lot of great cinematography in this film, and they did this thing a couple of times, but I thought it was added to the sort of uncomfortableness for the viewer, where they did that thing, they tilted the camera around, so the floor was becoming the ceiling was becoming the floor, while the camera was falling right down the corridor, and they did that a couple of times. I thought that's very impressive, and that
cross as well
unsettles me a little bit, because
and again they have kind of like a overhead shot of this, was it the staircase or something like that, this kind of long overhead thing,
because
so it's a very
you know what it's like when you watch a horror film and they enter the house, you want to be on your guard as well. You want to be looking every corner, making sure you're not getting caught out. The minute they start spinning that camera, you've lost all, you're disorientated, you know, and that's a very clever trick. I really admired that.
Any thoughts on the technical stuff, Ruth? Because I could speak all day about technical stuff. I'm a bit of a technical enthusiast.
The technical stuff was brilliant. It was very well edited, cut. You know, everything very. Even the jump scares that came was so seamless. You know, so I really liked the entire thing, the way it was cut. No wasted moments, like you say. You know, everything is. I couldn't think of really a scene that I would take out as well. You know, and it didn't seem. It seemed also like a short movie, you know, in terms of the pace and everything. So I thought it was good.
Music as well. I liked the little kid sort of toy box stuff going on at the end when he's getting into the room with the little girl. That's another aspect I've not spoke about. Standout. I kind of did the ending, the black and white stuff as well. Again, you're talking about fancy pant technical stuff. You start to shoot things in black and white right away. You try to get all artistic if you'd like. The way it was edited, in general, I've got the names here in front of me. I'm pretty sure I have. I mentioned the composer before. I think it was, Christ, I'm trying to find his name there. I'll just go to IMDb because I'll be here all day, realistically.
Should we ask Krishna?
See, was that the cinematographer or the composer?
The composer was Girish.
Krishnan.
Gopal.
Krishnan. Yeah, he was. I liked the way it was scored. I thought it was perfect for a horror movie. But the cinematographer, Sri is Krishna. He's the absolute star performer in here. He's what? Sorry, that was too bad. But look, he's great anyway. That's all good. That's all I need to say. He's very good. He's the star turn in this movie. He deserves more work. This guy, I don't know how prominent his work is, but he's worked in Jagami Fandaram. He shot Jagami Fandaram. Which was a very well shot movie, to be fair. The Danush movie. He's worked in Navaraza. That was that sort of multi-episode, different perspective TV show on Netflix. He's doing a lot of work, so I'm glad to see he's doing a lot of work. He's very, very good. I was going to say something about the sound department as well. I think I listed off the sound department, but the sound design was perfect as well. For a horror movie, you really have to utilise the sound expertly. You have to build it, leave a little bit of gaps and parts. And you know, if you're a horror fan, you'll know what I'm talking about. You just have to. All the technical stuff has to come together with the performance on the screen to make it an enjoyable watch. But look, if I've got nothing else to say about technical, we're going to performances. This is going to be a hard one. This isn't as easy as it normally would be if it's a telepathy or something, or a VGC movie.
John, as I mentioned earlier, I think it's to do with the structure of the storytelling as well, where you're getting the Krish character and Lakshmi as your sort of introduction characters, but are they the main characters in the movie? I think they're an important part of the story, but Jenny for me is the main character. It's everything's seems to be going through her for the large portion of the movie, although the narrative is taken from the Krish character's perspective, and that's what I was trying to say earlier. I've not really seen that done very often in a horror movie. Do you know who I did like? Atul Kulkarni, the Paul character. I just felt the weight of the world was on that guy's shoulders for the whole film, and it was just I thought he was just brilliant in this film.
I thought he was the Indian Taika Waititi.
Yeah, it was great. Quite looks like
the white hair, the moustache.
Suresh as well, the sort of cynic, if you like, the Dr. Prasad, who was getting in there to do the fake exorcism as we spoke about, and then comes out absolutely doesn't know what's just happened. Suresh is going to be in that film Doctor, I believe.
That's out.
It's out,
that movie, that film's out. Yeah, is that the organ sort of?
He appears in that apparently, so I can't wait to see that film. You know, and you've got the other moments with Prakash Belawadi as well. He's not really in the film enough, but his presence is there. But for me, I think Andrea Jeremiah, who seems to be, and I seem to get this vibe off her that she's, and this isn't doing a down service to the other actors when I say this, so please don't take this the wrong way. She seems to be at another level when it comes to acting. She's not in it a lot, but when she is in there, she just has this aura about her, this presence, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's maybe because we're more familiar with her face.
I've
already watched 3 of her films. Yeah,
it's because she's been around telepathy, VJ. That's what it is. That guy,
the rub of the green.
She's up there, that guy.
But for me, I think for her age, now I don't know what her age is, Anisha Victor.
She's a 30
she looked very young in this film, to be fair.
She was about my age in that film, Stephen.
The age you are just now?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. I thought she was in her teens.
No,
she's very young looking. I thought she was really good in this film. I think for me, she had the most to do. The exorcism scene for me was probably the standout one, and I think she, along with obviously the I can't remember the pastor.
Unless you're thinking about Anisha Victor, because she wasn't my age in the film. She was my early 20s in the film.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying Anisha Victor.
I thought you were talking about the Andrea Jeremiah.
No. I'm saying
Anisha Victor was a lot younger. She's 20.
She seems to be. I think she's just got a very experienced actor. You know, so you expect that from her, but. Taken by surprise, I was very impressed with Anisha Victor. I thought she was excellent in this film from start to finish.
She was excellent,
standout performance from you, Ruth. What was your standout performance
there?
Sorry?
I didn't even mention the Siddharth.
Siddharth, I'll say, mate.
Obviously, I think it was a very well cast movie. The ensemble was such that I think everybody gave a very good performance. I liked everybody's take on how they portrayed themselves and stuff. And of course, Siddharth is really good. I thought he was really very believable and stuff, and Andrea as well.
Almost Stephen Strange.
The standout was Anisha. Sorry.
Oh, it's all right. I'm just talking all that crap. For me
the standout was Anisha, and of course I liked the pastor as well. I thought he was really good. So I thought that what I liked about Jennifer's character was that she was this, she played a very like a normal teenage girl, and it was gradually things that are happening to her, especially whenever she came out of the moments where she was exhibiting the possession and stuff, and then when she came back to normal, I thought it was so naturally done. It wasn't she was like looked genuinely confused and wondering what was happening, and I thought for a young person,
this was her first film.
A lot of these very young pretty
wow, was it?
A lot of these young pretty girls, you don't expect them to really have that kind of a little bit more gravitas when they're acting. Well, she had that, so I thought I was very impressed with her performance, actually.
Yeah, for me, she's a standout performance as well. She's a sort of, how would you put it? Indirect protagonist in this movie. It's, as you say, it's focusing on Dr. Chris Sidoff. Sidoff, how do you say his name, Ruth? Sidoff. Sidoff. He was impressive as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's playing this sort of cocky, confident brain surgeon at the start. He's having the incidentally, he spoke about the fucking song and dance number at the start. Not a song, it's not really a dance, just a song number.
Yeah.
Again, get off on a little tangent briefly. The way that indie movies condense 35-40 minutes of storytelling into a 5-minute song and dance number continues to amaze me. He meets this Laxmi character. They start going out dating, fall in love, get married, settle down in a house, all in 5 minutes in a song. It was incredible the way they condensed that. But for me,
it reminded me a little bit of in the Terry, the song in that one where they show Talapati Vijay and Samantha, you know, the whole marriage sequence.
Is that getting up to get her getting pregnant, and then obviously she gets killed afterwards? Yeah. Is that I
like the whole idea of storytelling through the song. I thought they covered quite a lot about the relationship that they had as a couple, you know, to within that few minutes of the song.
4-5 minutes. It's incredible.
That's brilliantly done.
And that's what I enjoy about it. That's why I enjoy the using of music. Obviously, in India, it's something that's went hand in hand with film for decades. So they've really honed the art of putting these sort of song and dance numbers in at perfect times in the movie and condensing stuff. We've seen it in also KGF, the very first Indian movie we watched. The rise of this character, whose name I still don't even know incidentally. The Yash character. They sort of tell the rise of this guy in Bombay from this little orphan to being this terrifying kingpin gangster figure. And they do it in a 5-minute song and dance number. I love the way
Rocky.
they do it. It's one of my standout. What's his name?
Rocky.
Rocky, how can I forget that? Terrible. I'm looking forward to that second one, by the way. That must be coming out soon.
I'm looking forward to Veda Chennai 2, that is.
Veda Chennai 2, that would be great as well.
Can't wait to see
Danush was stunning in that movie.
Yeah, and Andrea Jeremiah's back for that as well. So
who was the other guy? It was in it's that guy, I can't say his name. KGF, what am I talking about? Veda Chennai, what was his name? I'm going to find this guy's name briefly. He's got nothing to do with this movie. Samu Tirakani. Fuck, I love that guy, man.
Yes.
There's just something about the way that guy looks. He's just got a presence. He was a father in you own Siriga movie, where he plays the alcoholic. He's at home. His mother dies.
Yep.
It's the plain one. Is that Siraya Poitras?
Siraya Poitras, yeah.
Is it that one?
Is that the one you think? We've only seen 2 of his films.
What was the other one?
24.
24? No, it's not 24.
Are you thinking of Danush?
Was it Danush?
I think it was Danush.
It was Danush.
I think it's a film that you weren't convinced you saw.
No, it wasn't Puda Patai. It was the other one. But it was in it. He played his father. That's annoying. I can't remember the name of that film. But anyway, I'm getting off in tangents. This guy's not even in the movie. It's because you mentioned Veda Chennai, Stephen. Not in the movie. Anyway, for me, getting back to the actual on track, Anisha Victor's a standout performer. Very impressive. The fact that Stephen says it was her first movie as well, that's incredible for her to put a performance like that in. A lot of the scares built around her as well when she's on the phone and it's in this sort of little religious room. The phone slides out. She's on the toilet. Sits down and that thing's sitting on the toilet. I was like, oh God, again. So for me, a lot of the scares were based around her character. It was very authentic, her performance. So, yes, exactly. I would on that thing. Laxmi, obviously, Andrea Jeremiah, she's worked with telepathy, she's worked in a lot of prominent movies. Atul Kulkarni, just for the moustache alone, but he did have moments. The moustache game is sensational. I wish I could pull a moustache off like that. You speak about moustaches, Danush and Jagami Farandram had one as well. Your man in Sarpata Parambarai, the moustache game on that guy was sensational. Couple actually, the bird game as well on the other guy. Prakesh Belawadi was good, and Cedar falsely said off. Really well-rounded performance, a strong ensemble performance, which is what you need in a horror movie. Certainly in one like this where you've got 2 free perspectives and they have to be strong in their own right. The Siddharth and obviously the Andrea, I can't even say her name, Andrea Jeremiah perspective's probably the easiest name on there. I don't know why I'm struggling with that. They were very strong. Obviously the Atul Kulkarni and the reading their name again, Anisha Victor, that perspective very strong. They were all strong in their own right. Look, I'm getting off in tangents here, man. I'm gibbering on. Let's move on to overall thoughts and the rating. Shall I go first?
Yeah, go for it.
Shall we rate the movie just on the hop after we've gave it? Right, I'll rate the movie. I'm trying to find my ratings now. 2 seconds, bear with me. I see this. Where the fuck is the rating I'm looking for? Bear with me. We've got this. I don't know what I'm clicking here. So whatever I click, that's what I rate it. Okay. That's my rating. I don't even know what I'm clicking, but that's my rating.
Please don't be. Please don't be. Please don't be.
Overall thoughts of this movie. Look, man, as I says, I'm a big fan of horror. I've watched a lot of horrors in my time. Fucking watched Nightmare on Elm Street when I was 5 or something in Ibiza on holiday, and it haunted my dreams for my whole childhood. Freddy Krueger. Now I know Robert Englund's smaller than me and he's an old little withered man. Doesn't haunt me anymore. I could slap him about like an empty tracksuit. But horror, I'm into horror. I'm a big fan of horror. I love the Conjuring series. I love horror done well. I like them building nice, intelligent scares. Scenes that make you feel uneasy. I might not get scared as an adult, but I still can feel uneasy when the technical aspects, the filmmakers build it intelligently. And they certainly do it in this. This for me is like a South Indian Conjuring. I really enjoyed it. The settings were well utilised. The technical stuff was very impressive. The performances were good. The story wasn't outstanding by any means, but it was serviceable for me. It was watchable. I enjoyed it a lot. 2 hours and 20 minutes well spent for me. I'm just going to click this button. I don't know what's going to come up here. That's just what I'm rating it. If I don't like it, I'll re-rate it. No, that's harsh as fuck. No chance.
What was it?
It was a C. There's no way it's a C.
Harsh?
That's harsh for me. It's not a C. I'm going to give it a C+. And I tell you what, I'm going to give it a second rating here. The movie's a C+. The technical aspects are this. That's the technical aspects. An A.
Yeah.
Because they're a real standout. If it was just about technical, it'd be an A all day long. But for me, as an overall package, I says last week, I really struggle to give horror movies anything more than a C, top C range. I can't see, unless it's like The Shining, it's going to struggle to get into the B range for me. This was a very good watch. It was an enjoyable watch and I enjoyed it a lot. But C+, A for technical. Steve, do you want to go?
Yeah, it was okay. It was an okay film. John, I don't get the same kicks from these type of films as you guys, so sometimes it's very difficult for me to look at the positives, but I can look at the positives, and I don't judge horror movies or any other films just because I may have issues with my emotions at times. For me, I think, you know, it's a decent watch. It is a decent watch in terms of keeping you hooked to the end, because you really do want to find out, and that's because of the way they built up that first half of the movie. And by that point, you've invested enough time to want to see how this plays out. And apart from that little misunderstanding for the last 15 minutes, which I've got over, I've not went on and on about it, guys. I've got over it. It's not the studio's fault, it's my fault. I wasn't paying attention, but I'm not even going to judge it on that. I just felt that for me the story was okay. There's only so much you can do with a exorcism type film, possession, that kind of thing. What interested me was, obviously, you mentioned it, John, was the first 5 minutes of the film where we're seeing that family and we don't really know what's happened. We know something terrible's happened, and it's not till the end of the movie we get to see this sort of payoff. You're not screaming like that for nothing, Steve. And that's why I stayed to the end. I really wanted to see how that played out. I wanted to see what happened to that family. Kind of regretting that I knew what happened because it was horrific. Yeah. With the little girl.
You spoke about that, probably.
No, and that was probably a standout scene as well, but we didn't talk about it.
Yeah,
but
the little girl, yeah.
But for me, you know, it was all about technical for me. It was. I said this to you, John, on Tuesday night. I says, I know, you know, I'm not the biggest horror fan. I think the stories...
You said visuals were top tier.
Yeah, it was. It was fantastic. It's some of the best technical stuff I've seen in an Indian film, in any film, for that matter.
I'd go as far to say, Stephen, that I thought it was on a technical level, it was bordering on masterpiece.
Yeah,
the way that they built the scares. They should get these guys over to do Conjuring movies.
Put a lot of investment into the sound, the visuals, the editing was fantastic. Let's be honest, you know, when you're doing horror, you have to get your... I said this last week. I feel like I'm having a bit of a deja vu moment. You have to get your editing spot on when it comes to horror, because if your editing is garbage, you've killed the suspense. You've killed the suspense of the movie. And for me, there was a lot of suspenseful moments in there that had me intrigued. Not on the edge of my seat, terrified or anything like that, but intrigued. And for me, that's a big thing when it comes to this genre. For me, what I'm going to rate this is a solid C.
There you go. Stephen's giving it a C. He's a tough taskmaster when it comes to horror. And again, that fucking rating graphic way too far over to the left.
Yeah, what's going on?
What is your final thoughts on this movie, and then get into ratings?
Yeah, I mean, usually there are certain things I look forward to in a horror movie because I love horror movies in general, but there's a lot that really falls short, But this one, what I liked about it was that it wasn't a unique story, but it was a very well told story.
Yeah.
It was very well told, very well depicted. The acting was all very top notch, stellar acting, very believable acting also. And I love the shots. There were moments where it looked like a postcard, so
That wide shot in the mountains
beautiful.
was.
Yeah, really beautiful with the backdrop and the mountain. Even kudos must be given to the fact that they chose that area to.
Ruth, do you know where that
to
was?
shoot in, it's so beautiful.
Oh, the
Was that
Himalayas,
was that up in the Himalayas?
Himachal Pradesh.
Was that in the
Yeah.
Himalayas?
It was like Himachal Pradesh. I think that's the area. I think it was the I think the Himalayas area.
I thought that, because it's kind of
probably,
bordering on, because we've seen it in a
Exactly.
Tara movie.
Beautiful backdrop, beautiful scenery. Even in the house, even the house itself, I thought it really looked like a really beautiful, architecturally pretty house. That kind of thing. I loved everything about it. It was
Didn't
very
like that
unique,
cross room
even
though. That was weird.
the setting. Yeah, just that.
bizarre.
Yeah, the cross looked a bit bizarre, and maybe the color on the wall was a bit strong. But I thought it was
loves
it was
Jesus.
nice for the whole look of the film. It was a pretty color for the look of the film. But yeah, it was I thought it was very well told, and what I like about it is that I love the interwoven, the music that was interwoven into the whole thing. That it allowed the music also to be a part of the storytelling. So I thought that was very well weaved in. It was seamlessly in the film rather than a standalone. So I thought that was really well done as well. I think was very necessary for a horror movie to have good music, because that's half the battle, in terms of scaring you, I think. And also I love the editing was spot on, perfect. Very well edited, like you were saying. Yeah, just for the editing and the cinematography alone, I would give it an A.
Yeah.
Just based on that. What I liked most about it is that for a horror movie, if it leaves me feeling like, when I finish watching it, if it leaves me feeling very a little bit disturbed, a little bit haunted, and a little bit kind of unsettled, then I think a movie would have done its job, as a horror movie. If I'm left feeling a little unsettled at the end of it, and that's how this movie made me feel. It was similar to the kind of feeling I had from Yavarum Nalam as well. It's not so much the end scene, but it's just like the entire movie, the feel of it left me very unsettled at the end of it. So I thought that's the emotion I like evoked in for a horror movie to evoke in me.
Yeah.
And that was really well done in this. So it wasn't anything outstanding in terms of things we have seen before. It's definitely had a lot of things that we've seen before in horror movies, but I thought it was really well executed, very nicely told, so it kept me interested throughout the entire film. There was no lag in between. I didn't get the feeling that I wanted to fast forward between any moments or whatever. So which I thought was really well handled. So yeah, I would probably rate this a C+ as well. Because it was a good watch.
Hopefully I pressed the right thing here, Ruth. I have. And again, that's over as well. It's really annoying me. OBS is a joke, by the way. People say OBS. Go to OBS. It's better than Streamlabs. Nothing but issues with this. OBS. Joke. Well, I digress, man. Says that saying again, Stephen. I never did get a t-shirt, did I?
No.
I digress. I never say that outside of these shows. I digress. Dear boy. I digress, dear Watson. What are we getting for dinner tonight? I digress. Don't know why I say that one here. But I digress. I don't know. Let's go right now. Aval movie review. or what's the other name called? The House Next Door?
Yeah.
The
yeah.
House
Sorry.
The House Next Door, which is the Hindi version. If you've seen any of those versions of those movies, and you've got some thoughts to share, you've popped along and watched our review, maybe you can pop them down below and let us know what your standout moment was, what your favourite part of the story was, how you thought it ebbed and flowed, your technical thoughts on this technical stuff. I can't even speak. I'm not blown away by the technical stuff in this movie. I can't even say technical anymore. I says it that much. You can comment down below about our review as well. If you've got anything to share and you feel compelled to share it, the comment section is a place down below. Did I say that? I think I says it 3 times down below. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon over on YouTube if you want to see notifications straight to your eyeballs. That's how you enable more content like this in the future. And hit the follow button over on Twitch as well if you want to see us over there, and that's how you enable it over there as well. But look, until then, we are all done here. I think it says me are all done here. Done into a reggae song from the 70s. We are all done here. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.